Hello, everyone. Jim Biringer here, back with the Nightcap Recap and Around Campus College Football Podcast, joined by Andy McNamara, Sporting News and Sick Browns Podcast. Andy, what's going on, brother?
Jim, good stuff, buddy. Look, we are coming off the national championship. NFL head coaching searches. It's a bonanza. And, of course, there's always a good wrestling going on, which I know we love to chat about once in a while.
By the way, shout out to your article on Chris Jericho. We're going to bring it up on the Nightcap Recap when we do the Royal Rumble. I'm saving it for next week when we do that.
He's going to appear there, isn't he?
Man, we'll see. We'll get into that when Teddy and I go through it. But we're talking football, college football, a little NFL, a little cross promotion here on this because, look, like you said, the national championship was Monday night. Great game, great finish. Indiana, shout out Kirk Cignetti, winning the national championship. Fernando Mendoza, I said it in my little recap. He had his John Elway moment. He didn't helicopter. He didn't helicopter, but he almost helicoptered into the end zone. I thought it was a great game. I think, like, we're going to dive into your article, but I want to get your thoughts on the game. Just your thoughts overall on Indiana and just what you saw in the game.
I just think Fernando Mendoza is the man. Plain and simple. I think this guy is the total package. I think he's pro ready. And anybody I heard after, people are like, well, look at the stat line. Like, did you watch the game? If you mentioned stat line, you didn't watch the game. By the way, Miami's defense, phenomenal. Look what they did throughout the college playoff as an afterthought 10 seed to get there, right? Fernando Mendoza has a bit of Justin Herbert. He has some of Drake May. He has a pinch of Josh Allen. This guy's 6'5", a leader of men. You hear him after. He is impassioned. It's completely genuine. And this guy, like, look at the drive. Who is not going to follow that guy into war? Where he's on, like, the 12, and he's just, I'm doing it myself. Boom, 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 boom. Rumbles through like Josh Allen. As we know, you can't be doing that too often. You have a short NFL career. But the way he is fearless as well reminds me again of sort of Drake May and those other guys, where he'll throw a pick, and then he'll just, okay, shake it off. And he just goes. Complete leader, pro ready. To me, I know Ty Simpson's going to go in the first round out of Alabama, but this is the only true. Yeah, I'm with you. Ty Simpson, I'll tell you right now, Ty Simpson is this year's Kenny Pickett, probably with bigger hands, but that's it. Fernando Mendoza, real deal, and I'm so jealous as a Browns fan that I can't get him, and he's going to go to Vegas and get to talk to Tom Brady.
Well, here's the thing about Fernando Mendoza, right? You say he's pro ready. I think he's like, he just needs to develop his mechanics, his throwing arm just a little bit, and they got to protect him at the Raiders. They have to protect this kid because they have something there. We know Mark Davis was there, that we know the GM was there, but Brady was at the national championship game. And you mentioned it, Bain Jr., Mesidor. That defense of Miami put pressure on Indiana's offensive line, put pressure on Mendoza in the first couple of drives. They couldn't really run the ball with Black, with Hemby to open up what they were supposed to do. But when it came down in the fourth quarter, when they were going back and forth with the drives, right? It was 10-0. They get the big stop, right? Fletcher does his thing from Miami. That's a pro-ready running back right there. If I ever saw one, reminds me of Derrick Henry, just downhill running. That's going to be a player in NFL one day. I guarantee you, he's going to be a monster. But back to Mendoza, right? You got 4th and 4. They make the throw to Charlie Becker. Like, that's just a money throw. Yeah, it was maybe a little bit short, but that's because the pressure, like you said, from Miami's defense, which has been so good all year and in the playoff, comes up huge, then takes it himself. And Cignetti calls the timeout, goes 4th and 5, runs it in. And I got to say this, Black on that 3rd and 8 after the penalty, man, that 21-yard blast, that's another kid that I'm really circling on my list of, if I don't know if he's coming out yet. I think he's going out this year. I think he's eligible for the draft. But that's a guy I'm circling later rounds that if I need a guy like that, I'm picking him up.
Well, yeah, and like Malachi Tony, who cannot come out in the draft, unfortunately. Holy cow. You talk about a guy who can go, and I think can play in the NFL next year, no problem. Imagine him with another year in college. So he can't come out. Just like Jeremiah Smith out of my Ohio State Buckeyes, that probably would have been the first round overall pick last year at 19 years old. There's some phenomenal players, but you're right. Like, for Mendoza, it comes down to this to me. Now, he's got to learn, of course. But for the Raiders, if there's any smarts in that building, and I hope Tom Brady brings the smarts to them, you just copy exactly what the Patriots and the Bears did. What did they do around their young quarterback? They built the offensive line, right? You build the line. Raiders got a ton of cap space. Think about the other benefits to this too. Not only would you protect Mendoza, who's a stud, Ashton Jeanty, do you not think he's going to benefit from that? How about Brock Bowers? Gets a little more time for the quarterback to get him the ball. You could be legit talking about the Raiders climbing and being a wild card contender if you fix that offensive line. And I'm not even talking about any receivers being added, which they have zero. So the Raiders can get good real quick. You just and they hey, who's going to be their head coach? That job became a lot more. Who watched the national title game and doesn't want to coach Fernando Mendoza? Come on.
I mean, if I was a head coach and I was fired or I was an offensive coordinator or something, I'd be wanting to go to that Raiders job real quick. I'd love to do that, man. That's a great job with Mendoza. And I think like the threat of running, he can throw the ball. And I think here's the thing. I don't know. You're gonna have to get a coach that can kind of incorporate his style of play because Kirk Cignetti's like style feels like Mendoza's a system quarterback, just the way they were running the ball, the back shoulder throws. But those back shoulder throws can carry over into the NFL. We see it, right? Like guys, and maybe the first year is not the greatest, but we can't call him a bust right away because look, Sam Darnold's taking time. I hate to bring up Baker Mayfield because the Browns had him and they just let him go. And what he's done, like I think if you develop him, like you said, use Jeanty in the running game. You got Bowers there. You build the line. They have a solid defense. Like they do the things as much as I'm going to get on Tom Brady because I don't like the fact that he's calling games and part owner. And it's a weird dynamic.
You don't need to do both. Come on.
Well, the NFL wants it because that's what they want. It's Brady.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he can't sit in meetings. He can't even do the best job as a commentator. He can't sit in meetings. It makes no sense.
No, it makes no sense. I don't like it.
No, it's crazy. But I'm telling you, the Raiders, it is all very doable. Like you can fix the offensive line in free agency and the draft. You can do that this year. Then you sprinkle in whatever else you need on defense and get yourself a receiver. You're talking.
Yeah.
Right?
Like give them weapons, give them protection, utilize what you have because that was the problem in Cincinnati. It's been the problem in Cleveland. It's been in the problem with the Giants. All the bad teams that have been on the hamster wheel of death that I call, they don't protect the young quarterback. And then they
Bears last year, Jim. Bears last year. And then look what they did. You bring in Ben Johnson, new coach, pair him with Caleb Williams. And all of a sudden, why is Caleb Williams looking so good? It must be all Ben Johnson. Partly also, they invested heavily in the offensive line. When your quarterback isn't running for his life, guess what? Yeah, good things can happen.
He can throw the ball. He can make smart reads. He can do all those things that is necessary to be successful. But like we said, Malachi Tony is going to be a weapon one day. Bain, Mesidor, all those guys are going to be. Those guys are going to take it to the next level in the NFL. Look, we're seeing what Will Anderson Jr. did with Houston. I mean, like the Houston. Here's the thing: if Houston could ever find a quarterback, man, like I love C.J. Stroud, but this is the kid that look. I never was high on C.J. Stroud coming out of college. I'm like, it's Ohio State. They got all these weapons. Is he really doing much? Like when the game, dude, he had four turnovers in that first half in the divisional game, and then a game against Pittsburgh. The only reason they won is because Houston's D almost won it again for them. But I mean, like I'm saying, you get a good defense in Oakland. You get Vegas now. I'm so used to saying Oakland with the Raiders.
I know.
You get a good defense there. Offensive line. Mendoza comes in, work them in slowly, get right packages for him, get the right head coach to coach them.
Yeah.
The Raiders.
Good things can happen.
Exactly. We talk about it all the time. It's just good things happen.
Look at the turnarounds year. The example that all owners now are chasing is two teams this year, Bears and Patriots. Look how far they went. 1 year. That's what everybody's chasing now. NFL's a copycat league. All these other owners, Jim, are sitting around being like, well, I don't want to wait for 3 years. These guys, Patriots could go back to the Super Bowl after a 3-win season. The Bears got as far as they did after looking horrendous. These owners now are thinking, well, why can't I do that? I want those guys. And so that's why I think we're going to see, with still plenty of head coaching vacancies and not a lot of inventory when you look at quality established guys, we're going to see some odd names getting head coaching jobs maybe a year or two before they should because the demand outweighs the supply.
Here's a guy I forgot. We mentioned Jeremiah Smith. Don't
Oh,
forget Cardinal Tate is going to be eligible for the draft
stud.
this year. Stud
Yeah,
wide
stud.
receiver out of
Top
Ohio
six.
State.
Top
Easy,
six.
easy. And I agree. I got to go back to your Ty Simpson point. I think he should have gone back to school. I think he should have hit, whether if he hit the portal or stayed at Alabama. Too many times we've seen it 15 games or less. How many times we see it, those guys get replaced. They don't play well in NFL. He's not a first round. First of all, if I watched a lot of college football, I can tell you right now, people were trying to replace Ty Simpson for Alabama. They had -3 rushing yards in the SEC championship and they beat a mediocre Oklahoma team, and Ty Simpson didn't play well. They got smoked by Indiana. Ty Simpson didn't play well, was taken out in the second half because it was just murder fest. Like, it was a blowout game. He's not ready. He's not a first-round quarterback. He's not a first-round talent. At best, he's a third-round talent. At best, he's a third-round talent.
I'm with you. Ty Simpson, whenever I look at him, I'm like, is there an exceptional trait? With Fernando Mendoza, we went over the exceptional traits, right? So I'm looking at Ty Simpson, and all these heights and weights will all be confirmed. We see plenty of times where it's like guys 6'2", and he goes to the comments like, oh, I shrunk a couple inches, right? Like, I don't know. ESPN lists him 6'2", 208. Okay, that size is okay. We saw him regress throughout the year, right? We saw him hot and then regress. And so I'm with you. I just see him, and I see Kenny Pickett with bigger hands. Well, I'm assuming he has bigger hands because Kenny Pickett has the hands of a toddler. But like, I'm assuming his hands are a little bigger. Like, there's nothing special.
No.
Like, do I think, and Carson Beck is going to be coming out. I think he's better than Carson Beck, but Carson Beck is at best a high-end backup. Maybe not even a high-end backup. Like, Carson Beck could be around.
Look, I'm a fan of Miami. I've always been a fan of the U for years. I couldn't trust Carson Beck to win them a national championship.
No, it was on the defense.
It was on the defense, and I saw the Carson Beck I saw in the last throw that played at Georgia the year before.
Absolutely, great point.
That's a bad read. That's a bad read. Underthrown ball. Like, it's just, I just never felt confident in Carson Beck to win the national championship for the U.
No, it would have had to have been the defense doing all the work, which is how they got there. I see Carson Beck going much the same way as Quinn Ewers.
But I think Quinn Ewers is a little better than Carson Beck. I think Ewers is a better talent than Beck because I saw Ewers do it more.
Right. You know what's funny? So every year, right? I'm sure you hear it as well, Chip. It's like, oh, next year's quarterback class, that's the one. Oh, that's the one. Well, guess what? Sometimes it isn't, because I remember 2 years ago, I was in Cleveland for a Browns game, and it was the big matchup, Beck versus Ewers. It was like, whoa, this is the one, right? Texas versus Georgia. And we were watching at a bar, City Tap in downtown Cleveland. And Jim, we were sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, man, these guys are not good. And it went, whoop, and what happened? Cam Ward, only first round guy. Shedeur Sanders drops to the 5th round. This year, it's only Mendoza, and coming in, and so going into that game, it was like Bowers, or it said like Beck and Ewers were going to be 1-2, and then they drop and they aren't.
The only guy that could go in the first round if he doesn't win his lawsuit is Trinidad Chambliss.
Oh, is he thinking of coming out?
He has to go because the NCAA did not grant him his 6th year of eligibility. So, and he's suing the NCAA to get his status for next year, which is in the courts right now. So technically he is a part of the NFL draft unless he wins his lawsuit.
That's very interesting.
So
that's a wild card.
Right. That's a wild card. But so, like, to me, I think it was a great game. I thought it was an excellent play game. Thought Indiana's D stepped up. Pons is a guy that I love to watch, man, on D. He played. Like, look what this is the type of coaching you need in the NFL. He's never going, but he's taken 3 stars, 2 stars, a couple fourth. He's turned, I hate the argument, oh, JMU doesn't belong there. Well, guess what? You know how many JMU players are on Indiana? Yep. And he's turned them into Division I and NFL talent. And you had a great article. You had a great article today. Thank you for sending this to me about guys that are eligible from this game that you were looking at potentially for the Browns.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it. Surratt, Omar Cooper Jr., man, those players for Indiana, those guys are X factors in the NFL. You know how many receivers we see, like just, oh yeah, they fall to the wayside because everybody loves the hype, right? Like Jeremiah Smith. And Jeremiah Smith's going to be great in the NFL. He's going to translate over. But we hear all these different guys like Mike Williams and all these, like back in the day with USC. These two guys can make it in the NFL, and they're good for any team.
I totally agree. And Carnell Tate's going to get the love. And you have a Jordan Tyson that's injury prone a bit too. And I see him mocked to the Browns a bit, which makes me nervous because of the injuries. But like, if you're telling me I'm seeing Sarrett and Cooper from Indiana in the second, third round range, like if you're telling me I can get one of those guys in the second or third round, that's tremendous. Like, what a value. Maybe not a true WR1, but I guarantee every NFL team could use him. Every NFL team could. Yeah, Sarah led the FBS in touchdowns. And Cooper, like I wrote, elite yards after catch.
Yeah. Surratt had the drop last night, which I still don't understand how that was not a lost fumble, recover fumble, because I thought he had possession and made a move. Yeah, again, we just don't know what catches are anymore. But but you talk about like CJ Daniels is another guy that you talk about, right? And like to me, like the two guys I circled because we're talking about Raiders, like Monungai and then Cooper, like those two guys, if they can find quality, even for the Browns, if they can find quality offensive linemen like that, I mean, you protect. If imagine Mendoza gets his buddy, like, gets a guy he played against, like in Cooper, right? Like imagine that, or he gets Carter Smith back, right, to protect him,
second round or something. Yeah,
something like that. Like that's huge.
You have that familiarity. That's all you need to do, man. Like it sounds like such a simple blueprint, yet so few teams have done it.
Yeah,
it's bizarre, right? And I understand there's salary cap implications, and you can only draft so many players and this, but that needs to be the focus. It's really the old school thinking. And look at the good teams. What do they always do? You build from both sides of the line. That's what you do. The most valuable positions are the quarterback, the guy who protects the quarterback, and the guy who gets the quarterback.
Right? The end, left tackle, left tackle,
quarterback,
and the quarterback.
You're good.
Right? You can
and then
find
you go from there.
Because you can find running backs elite. Obviously, I think Jeremiah Love's going to go in the first round. I haven't. Me, myself, projected. If the Giants don't trade out of their spot, I would be a guy I think the Giants could draft that high.
Could be. I'm seeing like Carnell Tate to the Giants in some mocks. I'm like, are you going to really with Malik Neighbors? Like, I would much rather improve that line. And I think John Harbaugh there's going to do the line stuff.
Yeah, I think they're going to improve line and get a running back like that, or they trade back and just get linemen. Because I think that's
coming back.
Yeah, exactly. But I think to pair Jeremiah Love with Scadaboo would be huge for the Giants because I think they could use that kind of like Jeremiah Love could take the pounding that Scadaboo's taking now, and then Scadaboo could do his thing.
Sure, yeah. Like, there's a lot of and you bring in the John Harbaugh factor. So I think you look at like they're going to get back to what Giants football really at its tradition is, and that is building from the line of scrimmage. The Giants traditionally are a boring
football team,
but they win. Not lately, but traditionally.
Yeah, not lately. It's never, not since the boat photo. But if you look at their championship teams, good linebackers, good defensive end, mediocre quarterback, good running game. I'm not saying Phil Simms was a mediocre quarterback. He's actually a really good quarterback.
But a guy who's not an all-time, like a game manager or above, someone who can get the job done.
Right. Like Eli Manning's going to the Hall of Fame, but like he wasn't a first ballot guy. And the only reason he's going in is because of the 2 years he took up to the Super Bowl and won. And
against Tom Brady. And probably rightfully so.
Right, and rightfully so. But if you look at his regular season stats, they're not the best.
No. You're totally right. So it's all about where that goes. And then you look at the Jets, who got to be just like with Dante Moore going back to school.
Well, I like that move. But I like that move.
Oh, for Dante Moore.
He has to go back. I saw that game. I'm like, dude, I'm glad he is because he's got to go back to school. He had to go back.
He's not ready.
Here's my thought on this, and I've said this in a couple episodes that I've done with other people. I've said this. I think these kids are getting bad advice. I think people are telling them to go get the money, but you can make the money now back in college.
That's the difference, right? If you're a star at a school, there's no rush now. Because
Yeah.
before it was always you get no money. Oh, I go back another year, I blow my knee out, I get nothing. Now I can get this NIL money.
And I
So
can get
there's not the
insurance
rush.
on the NIL, and I can get insurance on the NIL money and all
Right?
that stuff. Real quick before I get you out of here, what do you think the Browns are going to do? A, with the head coach. B, what's the priority for them at the draft?
Boy, head coach. I have who I want. I have who I want, and I have who I think they will get. And here's the
Okay, I
problem.
like this.
Unfortunately, there's a difference.
Right.
Because I
There's
think I'm
always a
right.
difference. There's always a difference. Like the last time you came on, you told me there's a difference. It's why Stefanski's not working out in Cleveland.
Yeah, well, that's it. Here's the thing. The Browns, they got rid of the ultimate grifter, Paul DePodesta. He's now with the Colorado Rockies. Go back to baseball and ruin them. Thank you. A decade of incompetence at the NFL level. But his analytics and collaborative think is still stinking up the building. And the problem is you have Andrew Berry, who somehow, after one good, not great, good draft, gets to keep his job and go hunt for a coach. I'm going to have an article coming out, though, Jim, later tonight that is going to tell you guys it's not Andrew Berry pulling the strings. That's going to be a teaser. You got to check it out on Twitter.
Got to check that out.
Okay, I'm just saying. But here's the thing. I promote Jim Schwartz. Why? The only thing on this Browns team that's working is the defense. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, all vouching. We love Jim Schwartz. Why are you upsetting the apple cart? He's coached in Detroit in trying circumstances, got them to the playoffs 1 year after their 0-16 season. Overall record 29-52, not good. But the guy is a leader of men. Denzel Ward himself said, we need accountability. They're calling for discipline. Schwartz can be the discipline guy. And here's what you do. Those young 30-something coordinators you're interviewing, get either Dan Pitcher from the Bengals, who's not calling plays, because teams usually won't let you make a lateral move. But if you're not calling plays and you go to a team where you can, that's an upgrade. So Dan Pitcher, the Bengals, who Joe Burrow raves about and has been his QB coach in OC. I like that. Nate Scheelhaas, who came out of nowhere, pass game coordinator from the Rams, creative but is not calling plays. I would take one of those two guys, pop him with Schwartzy, say, you go be fun, creative. Schwartz will be the CEO and discipline D, and off you go. I think that's the way they should go. The way they will go, Jim, they're probably going to get the youngest head coach in NFL history in Grant Udinsky. I got another ski. I got Stefanski and I got Udinsky. Okay? I think we're going that because I'm hearing the argument. Oh, well, in a couple years, he's going to be the hottest candidate. Well, does that mean I got to have him suck for 2 years here and learn the job? And then we're going to run him out of town and he's going somewhere else and be good? Like, I don't know. That's what I think.
Here's a guy I think the Browns could use. I'm be honest, because you have two young guys in Gabriel and Shador, and I think Shador made progress.
Stinks. Yeah, Shador's good.
Shador's good. Yeah, well, Gabriel came out, and he shouldn't have come out, but he had to because he had no choice. But you keep Shador there. But I think if I want a disciplinarian and I want a guy that shows progress, I'm trying to go get Sean McDermott.
I like it. I wouldn't hate that. Now, here's the problem. You get McDermott, you lose Schwartz.
Right.
His two defensive minds. Right.
But McDermott could keep on Schwartz and he could take on the offense a little bit, bring in a coordinator, stay with that, keep Schwartz there. Because McDermott's defense, for some reason, in Buffalo wasn't working. But if he sees what's going on with Schwartz, you keep Schwartz there, you bring in McDermott, they can coexist. And let's see what happens.
I don't hate that if McDermott is willing to give it to Schwartz. And remember, too, Schwartz is going to have options as well. Now, he's still under contract.
Right.
He's still under contract.
So you got to trade. So you have to trade to get permission and use them.
Right. Or you can if McDermott comes in hey, man, I'm a defensive guy, but I know my 4-3 base, which McDermott traditionally runs, 3-4, isn't what is going to best suit Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, I don't want Myles Garrett standing up as a linebacker.
No, he's not. He's a DN. No, he's a two-time defensive end. You leave that alone. You leave that alone.
If you keep Schwartz on, and Schwartz is agreeable to that, giddy up, and then get one of the young dudes. I am totally down with that. I would love that.
But I don't think it's going to happen. That's what I would do.
That's not a bad idea. And that's the behind the scenes that that we don't know who's agreeable to what, who's. And remember too, I was getting to the point where Andrew Barry, he didn't tell Kevin Stefanski when he was trading his quarterbacks. Did you know that?
No, I did not know
The
that.
head coach was surprised when his
I,
backup Joshua Dobbs 2 years ago in training camp. Stefanski after camp just gave a thing. Yeah, Dobbs gonna be our backup. Then Andrew Barry was trading him while he was saying that. There's a miscommunication. Andrew Barry is power hungry, and it's a collaboration that gives the least power to the roster to the head coach. Stefanski didn't have full say on who's playing quarterback. What good head coach is going to want to do that under that premise? So unless they've changed that, you're going to get a 30-year-old who's like, frig, man, I'll make 10 mil. Okay.
right, and then I'll get fired in 2 years. It's fine.
Oh, well, then I'll go back and be offensive coordinator, and then I'll go be a head coach.
I'll still get paid. So it doesn't matter. I still get paid, so it doesn't matter. That's why you need like a hard guy in there, like Harbaugh basically told the Giants, "Hey, I don't care, Joe Shane's here. I report to the owner. This is the owner decision. I'm taking my team back," and they go get their guy. That's what they did. That's why you see in college, these college guys, they don't want to touch the NFL because they got all the power, and they don't want to report to anybody else. So, man, it's gonna be a good draft. I can't wait to talk more draft with you.
Yeah, man,
just leading up to this, hopefully get you on for some wrestling when we do wrestling on Nightcap, because that's always a fun time when we talk to wrestling.
Little AEW. I got an article up too I sent to you, and I want any wrestling fans listening to go read it on Sporting News under my name. You can check it on X at AndyMC81, Instagram at AndyMC Sports by Chris Jericho on why he must not return to the WWE for his final run.
Ooh, I like that. Andy, what else you got coming up? Anything else special coming up for you?
We got we're going to be talking Browns. We're going to be talking coaches search and draft on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on X at Sick Pod Browns. And then a lot of sporting news stuff too, man. And we'll keep that NFL conversation going.
Absolutely, guys. This has been Around Campus with a little bit of nightcap recap, NFL talk, college football, NFL with the draft. Here on Specialty Media. Also on IG where you find it as well. Spotify. Jim Biringer here. Andy McNamara, Sporting News, Sick Browns Podcast. Guys, take care.